Hello, Kelly Cougars, and welcome to your online library classroom. This week, we are going to talk about something new. We have two new vocabulary words, fiction and nonfiction. Can you guess what those words mean? Fiction. The word fiction means something has been created from the imagination. It's made up, like unicorns, like magic. It's made up. Nonfiction is referring or means something real. It's talking about something that's real, like flowers, trees, the sun, the moon, the ocean. Can you guess which pictures are fiction and which are nonfiction? Look at this picture. Is this a fictional picture or a nonfiction picture? That polar bear looks just like a real polar bear. I see a brick wall behind the bear and that it's standing on some dusty, dirty ground with pieces of straw. That looks like a real picture of a polar bear in some sort of human-made habitat or living space. This is not a picture of a polar bear in its natural environment because there's no snow. I think this picture is a non-fiction picture because it is not a fake polar bear. What do you think about this bear? Fiction or non-fiction? This is a picture of a bear stuffy. This is not a real living bear. It's a fictional toy or stuffy looking like a real bear. However, this is a real picture of a real toy. So sometimes it depends on the question. Is this a real bear? No. Is this a real stuffed animal? Yes. This is a fictional bear, but this is a real stuffed animal. Look at this bear. Fiction or nonfiction? This bear is nonfiction. That is a real picture of a grizzly bear in a river catching a fish. What about these bears? Fiction or nonfiction? This is another tricky picture. These are nonfiction pieces of candy. Those are real pieces of candy. But they are fictional bears. They're definitely not real living bears. These candies are not alive, but they are real candies. This is a nonfiction picture of candy. What about this bear? Fiction or nonfiction? Is this bear imagined or real? This is a fictional bear. Bears are not purple. Someone took a real picture of a bear and colored it in to make us think that there are purple bears. There are not purple bears. This is a fictional picture. When thinking about books, how can you tell if a book is fiction or nonfiction? How do you know if a book has real information or made up imaginary information? Let's look at some pictures of book covers and try and figure out if it's fiction or nonfiction. Look at this book cover. The title of this book is Polar Bears: The Natural History of a Threatened Species by Ian Stirling. Is this book a fiction book or nonfiction? If you guessed nonfiction, you are correct. You are right. There is real information about bears in this book. The information, the things you learn when you read this book are not fake. They are nonfiction, true facts about real polar bears. Look closely at this book cover. Is this book a fictional book or a non-fictional book? Is it imagined or real? The title is The Berenstein Bears' New Baby, written and illustrated by Stan and Jan Berenstein. If you guessed fiction or imagined, you are correct. In real life, bears do not wear clothes like people. Mama, Papa, brother, and sister bear are not real characters, and those are drawings of bears as cartoons. This is an imagined book. It is fiction. Excellent job playing along in guessing fiction or nonfiction. We're going to add a new rule to the game. Instead of looking at a picture, I am going to read to you a sentence, and you're going to let me know if the sentence or phrase that I say is fiction or nonfiction. And you're going to do that by touching your toes if the phrase I'm saying or the sentence is fiction. You'll touch your toes. And then when I read something to you that is nonfiction or not fake, I want you to point to the sky. Give it a try. Touch your toes. Fiction. Point to the sky. Nonfiction. Here we go. Bears eating honey in the forest. Fiction or nonfiction? If you're touching your toes, you are correct. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're pointing to the sky, you are correct. Bears eating honey in the forest is nonfiction. It is not fake. If you're pointing to the sky, you are correct. Next sentence. Bears eating honey while sitting at a table. Fiction or nonfiction? If you are touching your toes, you are correct. Bears do not sit at a table to eat honey. That is fiction. It is imagined. Next sentence. Kids riding bicycles in the park. Fiction or nonfiction? If you're pointing to the sky, you are correct. That is not fake. It is nonfiction. Kids do ride bicycles in the park. Next phrase. Kids riding on the backs of dragons in the park. Fiction or nonfiction? If you're touching your toes, you are correct. Kids do not ride dragons in the park. That's imagined. That is fiction. Next question. Scientists discovering new cures for diseases. Fiction or nonfiction? If you are pointing to the sky, you are correct. That is not fake. It is nonfiction. Scientists are discovering new cures for diseases. Next question. Scientists discovering aliens on Mars. Fiction or nonfiction? If you are touching your toes, you are correct. Scientists have not discovered aliens on Mars. That is imaginary. Thank you for playing along. I had a lot of fun with our fiction or nonfiction game. For those of you who have library book bags, can you find nonfiction books in your library book bag? Put all of those nonfiction books in a pile. See if you can separate them or set them aside from the fiction or imagined books. If you don't have a library book bag, go on a book hunt around your house. Make 2 piles of books, one with fiction or imagined titles, and one with nonfiction or not fake information or facts inside. You can show me your piles of books and the covers of them by making a short video or taking a picture and letting me know, or letting me see the cover of all the books and telling me which ones are nonfiction or not fake and which ones are imagined or fiction. Which do you like best? Fiction, imaginary stories, or nonfiction, not fake stories? You can look forward to hearing some nonfiction or not fake read-alouds next week. I look forward to seeing your library fiction and nonfiction activities in Seesaw. That's all for this week. Until next time, Kelly Cougars,